This time, you'll remember me.
Hey you guys, welcome back to another video from your boy Bishop Shadow Vlog. Today I want to talk about a particular game that's really been struck my interest more than anyone else, but it's not really about the game itself. It's more about what it represents. And I think what this game is representing right now is that how delusional gamers really are. And I don't even really want to call them gamers at this point. I want to look at them as consumers. They're the ones that are buying these games based off of no knowledge at all. They just kind of look, they see one trailer and they just think this game is going to be great, and that's pretty much it. They're not really putting in too much research, or a lot of people are giving this particular topic too much attention, and then they think that it's, most people, especially some companies, they think that any publicity is good publicity. This is pretty much what this video is going to be about. It's going to be about the perception of video games, but we're going to use the game Remember Me as a focal point. The thing about Remember Me that I've been seeing, I've seen a lot of videos on it. This game actually was supposed to come out in May, not too long ago. It was just announced that the game is actually not going to come out until June. In my opinion, 9 times out of 10, this game is probably already done. It is getting zero attention at this point. Only a few people on YouTube are talking about this game. I'm one of those people. I brought this game up before in my DMC video. When it comes to Remember Me, there's going to be two other games that coincide with it. Because right now, there's a lot of comparisons with Remember Me. There's a lot of reminiscent things about Remember Me. The thing about this game is, there's only going to be one thing that you're going to remember. Nothing. You're not going to remember anything about this game. I'm letting you know that right now. This doesn't take anything away from the guys that's actually working on it, because these guys aren't Ninja Theory. These are the same guys that worked on Heavy Rain. And I'm going to touch bases on that too, because as a fan, that was the very first PS3 game that I platinumed. The game actually is not that bad. I like the concept. And what kills me is it took the main guy. I forget his name. All I know is he's French, which explains why this game is in Paris. He's collabing with Capcom. I don't look at this company negatively. They haven't said anything wrong. They seem very down to earth, which is great. But they have, to be perfectly honest, they have reason to not be so down to earth. Because I mean, anybody that worked on Heavy Rain, you got a lot to say. You should be saying a lot. I'm like, man, look at this game. We did this, we did that. This game would not be like this if it wasn't for us. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being a little cocky. But when it comes to Remember Me, from all the stuff that I've been seeing, the playthrough, the extras, the stuff like that, the trailers that no one knows about, that they're on YouTube, but you literally have to search for them. This is not something that you're going to go to your forum and then, oh, there's a forum dedicated to this game. 9 times out of 10, there's no forum dedicated to this game unless somebody just now saw this vid and just say, oh, let's talk about this game now. Nobody wants to talk about it, dude. There's no interest in it. And this is pretty much why. It's going down the road of adventure hack and slash. Here we go with Capcom. They just put out a game that was adventure hack and slash. That game bombed horribly. And then we got another game that just came out a week ago that did well in just one country, and it did even better than this game altogether. And that's Metal Gear Rising. It sold over 300,000 copies in Japan alone. It was the #1 game in Japan, and it was the #2 game in the United Kingdom, which was just under Crysis 3. That's saying a lot. It really is. And we haven't even got the worldwide figures by now. So right now, this video is not about Devil May Cry. It's not about Metal Gear Rising. This is about quality now. This is about standards. This is about learning from the lessons that you should have learned from a long time ago. I've already stated this in other videos, and it looks like people still aren't learning. To be perfectly honest, with this particular game, I would have scrapped this game months ago. I probably would have scrapped Remember Me back in literally a year ago. Let's put it like that. Especially after, because a year ago, Devil May Cry was still in development. Every time we saw anything, this game is still in development. I've already seen the playthrough. I've seen what you can do, so, which means I'm going to go ahead and just describe how this game and how I'm perceiving this game. When it comes to Remember Me, it's going down the road of, the cyberpunk. It's going back to the 80s. It's trying to be the next Blade Runner. Blade Runner has tons of influence on this game. Then just think of elements of Blade Runner, then throw in elements of Ultraviolet. But when it comes to the gameplay is basically it's Assassin's Creed. Because you're spending more time just jumping and climbing and hanging and pulling and doing all this random shit. That should be a negative to a lot of people that's looking at this game. But the funny thing is, I can't really dispute it because Assassin's Creed is basically the Call of Duty of hack and slash right now. That's what it does. This every year this game's getting another game. This game's getting another game. Just keep trying to do this and do that with it, and it's getting overly saturated and redundant and boring. The combat is kind of boring. And just because you slow certain things down doesn't automatically make it cool. During the fight. I mean, I can understand you slowing shit down to make sure your aim is right, but not slow shit down just to make it look so cinematic. And I think that's the problem with games right now. And that's the biggest issue that I have with Remember Me. This is a cinematic game. And like I was sitting there pointing out, these are the same guys that worked on Heavy Rain. So you already know this game is based on cinematic already. They've already fucked up when they didn't make this game like Heavy Rain. They should have did it just like that. Because a lot of the stuff that you're doing is, this girl's Nilin is trying to figure out what happened to her memory. Why is she such a beast? Now that's the other thing I was trying to say. Now she's basically the black female version of Born Identity. I'm like, I don't find that entertaining. Some people might have liked it. That's okay. I'd rather seen something from Ghost in the Shell than see something like this. There's stuff that's already been done, and now they're trying to redo it, and they're not really doing anything with it, not making it even better. So it's like all you're doing is just wasting even more time. But this game would have been great if they did two things. Kept it a lot like Heavy Rain. I'm not trying to sit there and say it needed the quick time event. No. It just should have been just like how that game was done. A lot of times when you were doing the game, because it's like investigation. She's trying to figure shit out. She should be trying to hide herself, ask a lot of questions, almost similar to Shenmue. Something like that. And I think a lot of people probably would love this game even more if it was a lot like Shenmue. Like Shenmue in the future. That probably would have been a great idea. Also, when I'm looking at this game, I said they should have also did it like, well, this is something that we try to say that Asura's Wrath should have done. Because if you really look at Asura's Wrath, that game actually kind of was a game, but it was more of an anime than anything else. Because you're really just sitting there. You're really just watching the game. It's just like here's a cutscene. Now you're participating. You're not playing. That's pretty much what it's doing. It's dragging you along. It's like a rail shooter. The only difference is when you're playing a rail shooter, you're actually playing. This game, you're not playing. I've had a big problem with people trying to say, the Walking Dead game was a video game. Hell no, that was not a video game. Anytime you're sitting there pointing and clicking to an event that's going to happen no matter what you do, you can't freely roam around. The only thing it's basing off is how fast you react to it. That's not a game. And when it comes to next gen, that's not a video game. That's probably why it was so easily accessible. But I think, in my opinion, I'm not stating this as a fact, this is my opinion, that game, quote unquote, would have never done as well as it did if it wasn't called Walking Dead. If it was just another zombie game, people probably wouldn't play it. That's just real. I don't really see anybody playing this And sitting here, especially how it was done, you're splitting it up in episodes. Really? But it's like, who's gonna really sit here and wait months on end for one episode? And the gameplay is about roughly, depending on how you play it, it's gonna be 2 hours. And I don't see how that's gonna work out. But if they had did something like that with Asura's Wrath, because like they were pointing out, Asura's Wrath was like an overpriced anime. I look at The Walking Dead as an overpriced, episode. So I'm saying, like, if you're really gonna make some money like that, let's do it like how The Walking Dead was presented. Let's do it like that, $5 an episode, and have everybody play it like that, but do that and remember me. There's a lot of parts where it seems like it's gonna be a lot of drama, a lot of I don't know what, suspense, stuff like that. But when it comes to the actual fighting, it is most definitely not up to par. Just when I look at this combat in this game, it's meh. It really is. It's just there's nothing there, and that's what I'm sitting there saying. What's the point of having this character be so? Oh, she's a hunter. Another game with a hunter in it. What is she hunting? Memories. Wow, that's interesting. What are you gonna do with those memories? Either sell them or fuck with them. Which they would say remix them. Remix them for what? To get people to kill themselves, basically. To get people to freak out over stuff, basically. It's more like remember the troll, because that's basically what she's doing. She's going around trolling people. You know what I'm saying? You fucking with people's lives. So I mean that's just my perception of the game. If you don't look at it that way, that's fine. I'm not going to sit there and say you're wrong or I'm right, nothing like that. I'm just saying that there still could have been a whole lot more that could have been done with this particular game. And the biggest thing it could have started with was how the game is being presented. Because I'm probably going to stop right here and show you what the guy said about, how this game is supposed to be perceived.
In an industry where risks are often not taken, we'd like to take a risk today. We're going to be announcing a new IP with a brand new studio. This studio is Don't Nod Entertainment, based out of Paris. And we're really excited to be working with these highly talented individuals. These guys have worked on titles such as Resident Evil 6, no, such as Rainbow Six, Splinter Cell, Heavy Rain, and Burnout. And we believe that this concept will capture your imagination as it has ours. These individuals have also been supported by an artist who is extremely well known for his work with Marvel Comics, graphic novels such as Spawn and Magic the Gathering. So it gives me great pleasure to announce a new title called Remember Me.
When we started working on this game, we decided to explore the memory theme. Memories are fascinating. They're unique to everyone, our most intimate treasure and the personal track record of our perspective on the world. None of us will come out of this room today with the same perspective and memory of what happened here. Our memories are unique, and they largely define who we are, which is why we spend so much time sharing them with our friends. And with the rise and revolution of instant content sharing, it has become more and more common to share the most intimate memories with total strangers. It's like everyone in the world knows your favorite memory. But now imagine if I could digitize that one memory and give it to you so you could relive it in your own mind, with your own senses, but with my perception, going through the same roller coaster of emotions that I went through that night. Now imagine cherry-picking your own personal favorite memory and sharing it with a person sitting next to you. In fact, what if we could all have access to all the memories of all the people sitting in this room? Or better yet, imagine if we could all buy, sell, share, or trade any memory in the world. Reliving the night Obama was elected through his own eyes, or the adrenaline rush that Usain Bolt must have felt when he got out of the starting blocks in the Olympic finals a couple of days ago. Or what if we could delete our painful memories? A divorce, the passing of a loved one maybe? What if we could forget the pain and the sadness that sometimes weigh us down? All of this is possible in Neo Paris 2084. All the people carry a brain implant at the back of their necks which you can see, that is called the sensation engine, aka the Sensen. It allows them to record and digitize in real time everything that they see, that they hear, that they feel, that they know, and turn that into little memories that they can then trade and exchange freely over the network. It's a brave new world of emotion and knowledge sharing. The company that manufactures the Sensen is called Memorize. And on top of manufacturing the hardware, they also watch over and handle all the memory transfers that happen over the network daily. Now imagine how much power that one single company gets in terms of access to personal information and individual profiling. And what if no one is there to watch the watchmen? There is actually a group of underground activists that are fighting against their domination. They call themselves the Errorists, and you get to play the most gifted of them all. Her name is Nilin. She wakes up at the beginning of the game in the Bastille prison and realizes she has had her memory wiped clean. She has lost her identity and embarks on a quest to get it back. She soon learns that she's an elite memory hunter. She has the power to break into your mind and steal your memories. There are no secrets anymore. She is guided in her quest by Edge, the leader of the Errorists, as well as her last and only friend. Nilin is going to help Edge take the fight against Memorize a bit further, and in return, she might get her memory back.
Now, after you hear what he just said, this made that made the game sound really interesting, didn't it? But you're not getting that. When you're looking at it, just like, I'm not getting that, man. It's just kind of like, I'm getting more stuff. I'm just seeing a whole bunch of stuff that you took away from other things that we've already seen, like The Matrix. You know, all of this and all of that. She woke up in a jail cell and stuff like that with no memory. I mean, this is sound like stuff that we've already done. This is stuff we've already seen. This is already stuff we've already went through. What are you really bringing to the table? The reason why people gotten a lot of interest with Asura's Wrath when it was first revealed, yeah, people did say it was the God of War of Japan, but that's not what got people interested. They got interested in a guy that was full of fucking rage. He didn't talk based on the trailers, and he was taking a lot of damage, and it didn't do shit to him. He was pure rage. When we first saw those original trailers, it got our mouths really moist. We were salivating at this shit. And then as soon as the game came out, we were like, what the fuck happened to our game? Now we're just watching shit. This is not a game anymore. This is cinematic gameplay. And as I was sitting there saying, that's what Remember Me should have been. Asura's Wrath started the new genre, cinematic gameplay. But when you really think about it, Heavy Rain had already done that. The only thing is they did it with QuickTime events. There's nothing wrong with games like Heavy Rain. I loved everything about it. The thing that they're doing wrong with this game is if you make a mistake, you don't have to live with it. They just don't let you progress. That's not a game. When Heavy Rain, when you fucked up, you fucked up. And it messed things up for how the game ended. It either determined if the main guy is going to go to jail, or he's going to kill himself, or his son going to kill himself, or anything. We don't know. You know, does the son make it? All of this stuff. That's what made Heavy Rain fun. Because most people that played the game the very first time, they didn't get a good ending. So it just made you want to play the game again. So now when I think of Remember Me, it's like, I don't want to remember that. Now I have the opportunity to rewind everything, go back and do it the right way. That kind of sounds like another game that's close to that genre, The Prince of Persia. You can reverse time. You can't do that in this game, but you can do that with people's memory. That's the difference. So basically, you're just sitting back with a coffee in your hand, and you're just listening to how this memory goes, and you're like, okay, what can I fuck with in this guy's memory to make him do something different? Which, in my opinion, is like, just because you move something, how does that change anything? You know what I'm saying? How does that really, based on the story, how does that change anything? And then it's kind of like, okay, it's just like Inception. Another movie that's taking elements from. And I was like, I'm not going to sit here and say that this game doesn't have an identity. It has an identity. I just think it has an identity crisis. It has too many identities. It's going off of too many things, and then it's on top of that, it's trying to be what it is, which makes a lot of sense with the game because it wants you to remember shit, yet it doesn't even remember what it was. What is this? And then I'm sitting in one trailer, I'm seeing Nilin does something straight out of Devil May Cry, the DMC, Devil May Cry. And I'm like, and she's like, oh, now you're gonna remember me. I'm like, oh my god, y'all already fucked up with me on that. I was like, you didn't have to do that. You really didn't. We've already dealt with enough of seeing, you know, the original Dante when Devil May Cry 4 was supposed to come out. He's sitting here beating up a camera. And then here comes DMC. Now he's, that's when he fought the very first boss. Come on. This is why I bring up Metal Gear Rising, because it brought something to the table. There's a reason why that game is doing well. And people are going to sit there and say, oh, well, matter of fact, this is what people have actually been saying. The only reason why Metal Gear Rising did so well is because it's a Metal Gear game. Let's play devil's advocate. If that was so true, then why didn't DMC do so well? Okay? What happened? Whose fault is that? This has nothing to do with name. It has nothing to do with name recognition. If somebody was to sit there and say, we're going to completely reboot the Halo series, then we're going to have somebody that's never done a Halo game before or anything like that and develop this game. You've already fucked up. Nobody wants it. You just lost like 90% of the people that's interested in your game. So the main other point that I want to bring up with Remember Me is exactly the scenario of a particular member that tried to tell me that on YouTube that if Devil May Cry was not called Devil May Cry, it would have got tons of sales. Okay, I stated in my other video that if DMC was not called Devil May Cry, it would get zero attention. This is why I'm right. Not because it's my opinion. No, this is based on facts. Look at Remember Me. Who's talking about this game? No one. I'm the one that's talking about this game. I'm the one that's letting you know anything about it. This is probably the most information that you've seen or heard about this game. I can promise you that. And I don't even get paid to look at these games. This is something that I'm doing on my free time. Every time I've been looking at all this other stuff, Remember Me has always been coming back up. And I'm sitting here like, the only reason why I'm going to remember you is because you're going to prove a point. You're going to prove a point that this game is not going to do well. And they're really, at this point, Capcom is just kind of like, just go ahead and make it. We've already gone this far. Put it out. If it sells 300 copies within 300,000 copies within 2-3 months, we're not even going to be mad about that. Because we have zero expectations for this game. But we're talking about Capcom here. They think every game should sell at least 1 million copies before the end of their quarter, whenever it was released. That's bullshit. It's not going to happen. It's not. You're not going to do Metal Gear Rising Revengeance numbers. You're not. You got lucky with Resident Evil 6. I'm going to explain to you why Resident Evil 6 and Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City did well. The big A. Advertising. You advertised on AMC. You advertised during The Walking Dead. There is a perfectly good reason why Dead Island, with all the fucking glitches and problems that it had, even pre-patch, post-patch, people still didn't like this game. Real gamers hated Dead Island. Everybody else bought the game because it had zombies in it. Let's put this in perspective. If I was gonna sit there and there's a I forget what the vampire show is called. I just know what is. I still don't know what it's called because I don't watch it. I just know for sure that it's on HBO. Now let's just say that show was took off from HBO, and for some odd reason it was put on AMC. And I wanted to make Vampire Hunter D, and I wanted to reboot that whole entire series or whatever, And it wouldn't even have to be a reboot. It could just be a remake of the original Vampire Hunter D from the PSX. What are you gonna do? You're gonna advertise during the time that people that are interested in vampires. So if you got people who like Twilight and Blade and anything that pertains to vampires in general, they're gonna be interested in Vampire Hunter D. They're gonna be like, oh, that sounds like a good game. Sounds like something I would like to try. I don't play video games, but guess what? I'm like Conan O'Brien. You know, I'm the Conan O'Brien of games right now.
I hate tombs.
What did you just say?
I hate tombs.
Yeah, guess what? Then don't be a Tomb Raider!
I don't play them, but hey, it has a motherfucking genre that I'm interested in. I might as well play it. You know what I'm saying? I have a PS3, it got tons of dust on it. I don't really play it, but here's a reason to play the game. Nobody had anything like that for Devil May Cry. Devil May Cry didn't even have commercials. From the last time I've checked, Metal Gear Rising did have commercials. As corny as it was, it had a commercial. In Japan, it had like 3 variations of the same, of commercial. That's how you do it. You cannot sit here and think that everything's going to do well just because it's on the internet. It doesn't happen like that. You might get lucky like Catherine did. Catherine had 0 advertising. It did really well in Japan. It was released first in Japan. People saw a lot of walkthroughs, including myself. That's how I knew about it. And when I saw a guy that was, I forget his name, I'll have to look him up. Maybe I'll find a video and put a video clip right here. But I found the guy that was bilingual. I think he was British and he knew Japanese. While he's listening to what they're saying, he's translating on the fly. And he's playing the game. And he's good at it. So I'm like, I'm sitting here watching this shit and I'm like, oh yes. When this game gets released, which was like a month later, I said I'm most definitely getting that. I was like, I gotta play this. This looks like a lot of fun. And I was right. I was right. And a lot of his translations were spot on. That's what I'm sitting there saying. There was no, you can't really get lucky like that. You know, you gotta advertise. You got to advertise. You gotta advertise in the right way. The reason why Street Fighter did so well wasn't just on name alone. Not everybody sits on their ass and go on forums and talk about video games all the time. A lot of these people are at ages or they have a mentality or mindset that they're too old to play video games. They're not going to have entertainment like that, and they move on. But when you go find out that these guys still watch ESPN, guess what? This guy just saw Crysis 3. They just advertised that. Next thing you know, they just advertised Super Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition. He didn't even know there was a Super Street Fighter. No, he didn't even know there was a Street Fighter 4 out. He had no idea. But guess what? He just saw it. Now he's interested. Then he's like, okay, well, I'm about to go to bed tonight. And usually I fuck around and I watch Adult Swim for a little bit. Here's a commercial. They see some angry white guy going around. He just cut himself. He just dropped something on his foot. What the fuck is this about? Metal Gear Rising. What? That's right. Man, I haven't played Metal Gear since Metal Gear Solid 2. Really? I may have to look this up. Exactly. How the hell you think this guy's finding this stuff out? Nobody buys video game magazines anymore. You might have a younger crowd still doing that, but for the most part, they're getting their information just like I'm getting your information, just like you're getting your information. We're getting it off of YouTube. We're getting it off of forums. Essentially, we're getting it off the internet. Not everybody has that mentality. You know, that's why we keep sitting there saying the reason why Nintendo's doing good, is always going to be doing good, is because it's Nintendo. We already know, it's already in their mind. When you think of Nintendo, you think of kids. You think everything they make is going to be for kids. You don't think Dead or Alive beach volleyball. You know, when I was at Toys R Us and when I was at GameStop, I had to make sure I let the customers know exactly what they were getting into. I didn't tell them to buy an Xbox for their 5-year-old. I said, if you want to buy something that, because I always told him, I said, what type of video games you think your kid is going to be interested in? He's like, well, I don't really know. And that's usually sad, because they're like, I don't know what my kid is interested in. I just know he wants a video game system, and at this point it sounds like he wants either one. He really doesn't care. But he said the other problem is he has a little sister, and I said, I'm gonna stop you right there. That sounds like you need a Nintendo. And at this time, GameCube was still around. This is like 2005. Yeah, 2005 when I last worked there. So I said, this is probably the best bet for you. Most popular game right now is Mario Party. Anybody can play this game. If you wanted to play, we could do that right there. If you look to the side, we actually got a setup, has Donkey Konga on it. You want to play that? This is something that's like, matter of fact, have your kids come over and they can demo it. And he's sitting there watching them play, and he was like, oh, well, just sign me up. Because that's something that they want. And I was like, all you had to do was ask them one question. You having fun? Okay. Whatever I need for this. Anything to keep my kids happy. And that's the reason why Nintendo is still around. Because a lot of people is like, I already know about Nintendo. I already know what it's associated with. This is what I'm going to get. That's what people felt about Devil May Cry. You're not getting it. It's already been proven. Already. Done, old news, maybe new to other people. You didn't get what you were asking for. Metal Gear Rising, a lot of people are actually still saying, is the game good? You should know by now. The game's been out over a week. Get the damn game. Come on. What are you waiting for? At this point, there's no time for waiting. You might as well have this game by now. So what we're going to probably just wrap things up with the final thoughts of this game is that why should you remember this game? It's like I've said, the main reason why I'm going to remember this game is because after it comes out and after that first week or first month and we see the sales and we see how non-existent this game is going to be, we're going to pretty much, the only thing I'm going to sit there and state is, I told you so. I told you that this game wasn't going to do that well. It's not going to do $500,000 in a month. It's not going to do $500,000 in 6 months. This game is not going to do that well. There's going to still be people who are going to like it. They're going to enjoy it for what it is. It's a game. Video games are meant to be enjoyed, but not every video game has been made very well. Game does have a lot of great features. It does have a lot of visuals. The only thing is, it went into the wrong direction. It's basically it's a mix of Assassin's Creed with Heavy Rain, and in my opinion, that's a horrible combination. You started off well with Heavy Rain. You ended poorly with Assassin's Creed. That's not a good idea. It should have been, like I stated before, it should be a focus on cinematic gameplay, which basically is there's no reason for you to really be focusing on combat at this point, because there is no combat if it's cinematic. You're basically, everything's being predetermined. You can't really fail at anything. It's going to make you do the right thing regardless if you do the wrong thing. You're going to have to keep doing it a certain way until you get it right. So there's no failing at this game. There's going to be, I don't think this game should even has multiple endings at this point. I really doubt it. The only thing I can think of for other people is what you need to remember about this game. Do you even remember this game at all? Will you remember this game at all? Is there anything to remember about it? Right now, I feel, now this will go under the lines of opinion. I feel that a lot of people are not going to remember this game. They're not interested in it. Then you might get 50,000 people is a lot of people, but when it really comes down to it, that ain't shit. And when it comes to Capcom, they don't care about 50,000. They want 50,000 times a million. You know what I'm saying? They don't care about just a handful of people. That's why there's certain games that are not getting remakes or updates or re-releases or anything like that, because it's not doing Street Fighter numbers. It's not doing Resident Evil numbers. Hell, it's not even doing Devil May Cry numbers. And this game is not going to do a fraction of all of these games. It's just not. So I really don't know what to say else about this game. If this game is supposed to come out in June, they're going to still put out more and more and more. They're going to put out a demo eventually within a month before the game comes out. But even when people play the demo, they're going to pretty much say, You know what I'm saying? They're gonna be like, it's boring. There's nothing there. And I've been saying that for months. You know, you haven't showed me anything yet. And I don't think you ever will at this point, because this game is practically done. They're probably going to do a few polishes up on it, and it's like the main theme of the game is glitches. You notice that? You know, the guy's sitting there like, well, you know you got to fuck with certain things because at certain points you'll see a glitch. Well, this game is going to be glitchy for all the wrong reasons, not for all the right ones. Because if we learned anything from DMC, it's going to have glitches. Because they don't have beta testers anymore. They don't pay anybody to try to look for these things. And if they do have people doing that, then those guys aren't doing their job. Only thing I can sit there is just say, let me know on YouTube or any other way you want to know. Let me know. And if you want to show me some videos that I've missed, let me know that too. But just give me how you feel, or if it's your opinion, or you feel it's fact that this game is going to do well or not. It's just something to have a discussion about, and hopefully what we can learn from this game after it comes out is that not to be who's right, who's wrong, is more about who's learning. That's what I want people to understand. Who's learning from these mistakes? Are we learning from these mistakes as consumers, or the publishers learning from their mistakes when they're trying to put out these games? Because Capcom is not going to stop putting out new IPs. They're not. That was one of their main focal points when they brought out last year, is that they're going to continue to make new IPs while still making other games. That they're trying to make a Lost Planet 5. They're going to keep going. Really, they're not going to just stop. So even if they fail, you might still see another Operation Raccoon City 2. You might see another. I really doubt you'll see another Devil May Cry at this point in any kind of way, shape, or form. There's not even going to be a spin-off. The only way we're going to see anything that's related to those characters is going to have something to do with probably Marvel vs. Capcom 3. They're going to have pretty soon they should be releasing a updated version. It's going to be version 2013, something like that. Capcom has ways of pulling shit out their ass. I mean, look at Street Fighter Cross Tekken. They're already coming out with another version of that. Ono likes to do stuff like that. They always say, they'll have somebody like Sven lie to you and say, there's never going to be another version, and then 6 months later, here's a new version. You know what I'm saying? We got to stop falling for their bullshit. That's what you really need to remember. But other than that, you guys take it easy and peace out.
So that's what I meant by a multi-layered combo-driven combat system.
So what happens if I don't want to build any combos?
Well, we actually build them for you. So basically, for the players who really want to delve in and really construct their own combos, they can. But for those players who don't, as you unlock the combos, they get slotted in, so you can just fight your way through it.